Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in this video we are going to discuss about 5 essential ways in which we can do the tuple unpacking, okay? So let's start with our code, okay? So we know, first of all, let's discuss about tuple. So in Python, tuple is a data structure, or you can say a built-in data structures, okay, present in Python. Tuple has indexing, but tuple once an item is created cannot be modified, means cannot be we cannot change the values once it is created, so it is created only. Okay, so no modification is performed in tuples. Okay, so because of that, if there is no modification can be done in tuples, because of that tuple provides us a unique thing, that is packing and unpacking, okay, in tuple. So you can pack items in tuples, that we know how we can do it, okay, using the tuple constructor or using the parenthesis, okay. But how you can unpack it, that is very unique, means you can unpack the items based on means you can unpack different values with different variables, okay. So that we are going to see that the 5 different ways in which we can unpack a tuple, okay. So for that, let's begin with our code, that is we'll see the basics of unpacking, okay, on tuple. So first of all, we have a tuple with us, that is a person, okay. The tuple name is person, and it has 3 values. That first it has the name, okay, then it has the age, and then the profession of that, okay, person, okay. Now this is our tuple, and if you'll print a normal tuple, then you will get all the values, John, 28, and engineer. But I want that this 3 elements should get unpacked, means should get stored in 3 different variables. So for that, what I have done here, I have taken 3 values, name, age, and profession, and I'm assigning it to our tuple person. So now this person is a tuple, so it has the ability that the first item, that is the name, will be stored in name, then the age will be stored in, means the 28 will be stored in age, and the engineer will be stored in profession. Now one more thing is there, it's not necessary that the first place, if I've written name, so it will take John only. No, it is in positional ways, means the first element is there, so first element will always assign to the first variable, then second one to the second variable, and the third element to the third variable, okay. So it is just like that. So now what we can do, we can separately print the age, means we can separately print the name, age, and professions, okay, using these strings. So this is how you will get your output. John, name John, age 28, and profession engineer. So this is how we have done the basic tuple unpacking, okay. So we have a tuple with us, and we have unpacked it into 3 different variables, okay. Now let's move to the next one, that is swapping variables using tuple, okay. What we are doing here, we have a 5 and we have a b, and that we have assigned 10. So we have a which has 5 and b which has 10, and now we have to swap the values of a and b, so that b should have 5 and a should have 10. Okay, so for that, what we have used, we have taken the value of b and a, so now it being treated as the tuple, and we are unpacking it in 2 variables, a and b. So now the value of b will be assigned in a, and the value of a will be assigned to b. So values will get automatically interchanged. So when we'll execute this code, you will say now a has 10 and b has 5. Okay. Now let's move to the next one, that is unpacking elements from a list of tuples. Okay. Now we have tuples, but now that tuples are inside a list. Okay. So as you can see, we have a parent list over here, and in that parent list we have 3 tuples. Okay. And all the 3 tuples have two elements, that the first element is the name, and the second element is, suppose you can say, marks scored out of 100. Okay. So now what we have to do, we have to unpack all the 3 tuples, or you can say unpack the elements from the list of that tuples. Okay. So for that, we are using a loop here, as you can see, and on the loop I am using 2 variables, okay, for the name separately and for the score separately. So for name and score in students, okay, so we don't have to write anything, only we have to use 2 variables, in and the tuple name students, and then in the printing time you have to print the name separately and the score separately, and just then you will get Student Alice score 85, student Bob score 90, and student Charlie score 88. Okay, so this is how you can unpack the elements from a list of tuples. Okay, now suppose if there is one more, suppose a score for, okay, one more value. Suppose you have three values in the tuple, so then you can make it score 1 and then score 2, and you can print it over as score 1. Let's me do it here also. Let me make it a score 2, and we have to do the changes here also. Okay, so now you'll get a student Alice score 1 and score 2, student Bob score 1 and score 2, student Charlie score 1 and score 2. Okay, so based on the elements you can use as many as elements in your for loop. Okay, now let's move to the next code, that is unpacking using the asterisk operator, okay, which is also called as the star operator. So now we have a tuple with us which has numbers, okay, and the name of the tuple is also numbers. Okay, so we have 1 2 3 4 5 6. Now what we are going to do, we will store the first and the second element, means 1 and 2, in different variable, and rest of the items inside a list. So for that, what we can do, for that we can use a asterisk, okay, along with the name of that variable. So for the first and second, I'll use the first and second variable, and then for the rest of the elements, I'm going to use the asterisk. Okay, so asterisk along with the name rest. So then this first and second will have one separately and two separately, and then this rest will have a list of all the items, means the rest of the all items. Okay, then we'll print all of these three. So when you will print it, so you can see first has one, second has two, and the rest of all have a list with the rest of the items. Okay, 3 4 5 6. So this is how you can unpack tuple. It is also a very interesting way that the values, as many as values you just suppose, you can take a third also. Okay, and okay, so now you'll have three, one, two, three, and the rest of the items will be stored in the list. Okay, in this rest. So this you can do using the asterisk symbol. Okay, now let's move to the next code, that is how you can return multiple values from a function using the tuple unpacking. Okay, yeah, in the functions also you can use the tuple unpacking. Now how you can do that, let me explain you that. So first of all, we have a function with us. Okay, using the def keyword you are defining our function, and the function name is get underscore student underscore info. Okay, now inside that function we have three variables: name, age, and major subject. Okay, so name is suppose age 22, and major computer science. Okay, and then we are returning multiple items. So when we are returning multiple items, so these multiple items will be returned in a tuple format. So when we are returning the name, age, and major together, so then it will be returned in a tuple format. So whenever we are going to call this method is going to return us, means give us three items in a tuple, inside a tuple. Remember this thing, it will give you inside a tuple. So when it will give you in a tuple format, so now we can assume that when it is tuple, so tuple unpacking can also be applicable on that. So yes, tuple unpacking will be applicable on that. So now when we'll call the function, so we'll call it and we'll store all this name, age, and major in different variables. So we'll store name is a different, age in a different variable, and major in a different variable. So for that, as you can see, I have taken student underscore name separately, age separately, and student underscore major separately. And then I'm calling the function. In the assignment part, I'm calling the function. And then I'm printing all the three values separately: student name, student age, and student major. So let's execute the code. So now you will see name is age 22 and major computer science. Okay. So this is how you can do the tuple unpacking in a function also. But remember that for that you have to return multiple items. Okay. So this was all five techniques which are very essential when you are working with the tuple. Okay. Because one of the unique feature of the tuple is that we can perform the unpacking in tuple. Okay. So I hope you understood all the 5 ways. Thanks for watching the video. We'll see you in the next.